Vinci is one of a long line of artists who have told us, beginning with the ancient Egyptians and running through the early Christians and Tibetans, that art is a medium, it's a conduit.
Musical notes are embedded in the bread and hands of the disciples, and AI has finally cracked the code to play the song. For more than 5 centuries, millions have stared at this wall in Milan without realizing they were looking at a musical score. Algorithms recently detected mathematical ratios and patterns that form a 40-note melody in a specific ancient mode. But here is the catch. The music sounds like a funeral lamentation, and it is hidden right where Jesus announced his betrayal. This discovery changes everything we thought we knew about Leonardo's intentions. The crazy part is, this is only the beginning of the horror. Artificial intelligence breaks 500-year silence. Leonardo da Vinci was never just an artist. He was an inventor, a scientist, and a man who lived centuries ahead of his time. Inside a quiet dining hall in Milan, he spent 3 years creating a masterpiece that looks like a simple biblical scene. On the surface, it is Jesus and his 12 disciples sharing a final meal. But Leonardo was a lover of puzzles and secret meanings. His notebooks were filled with strange diagrams and mirror writing that no one could understand for a long time. To him, art was a conduit for knowledge that had to be protected from those in power. Between 1495 and 1498, he painted the Last Supper using an experimental method. Instead of wet plaster, he used dry walls. This allowed for more detail. But it also meant the painting began to fade almost immediately. This damage may have actually helped hide what he buried in the layers. For 500 years, people noticed strange things. The disciples are arranged in a way that feels almost mathematical. Their hands, their eyes, and even the objects on the table feel far too intentional. Some researchers said the bread formed musical notes, while others thought the figure next to Jesus was actually Mary Magdalene. These were just rumors until 2025. A team of scientists from Italy and Japan started a project called Da Vinci Decoded. They used hyperspectral imaging to turn every pixel of the 15 feet, 4.6 meters, by 29 feet, 8.8 meters fresco into digital data. They wanted to see if AI could find something the human eye missed. The AI was trained on Leonardo's personal handwriting and his unique coding style. After weeks of processing, the system began highlighting patterns that defied coincidence. The AI detected specific mathematical ratios that appear throughout the composition. The apostles are grouped in threes, which represents the Trinity, but the golden ratio of 1 to 1.618 is applied to the position of Christ himself. This is a key detail. The distance from his head to the edge of the table fits this perfect ratio exactly. It is not just a pretty picture. It is a calculated geometric grid. The AI also found that Judas is clutching a money bag that tilts at exactly 33 degrees. More, this matches the age of Christ at his death. These are not random accidents. They are deliberate choices by a man who saw the world through numbers. But as the AI looked deeper into the shadows behind the disciples, it found something even more shocking. Faint marks that looked like tiny letters were appearing in the dark archways. This was the first sign that Leonardo had hidden a written message within the paint. Everyone in the lab realized they were looking at something revolutionary. Leonardo was using the painting as a safe for his most dangerous ideas. The team began to map these symbols using ultraviolet and X-ray scans. The AI started connecting the dots, literally. It found a spiral design that started at the right hand of Jesus and moved outward. This spiral touched every disciple in a specific order, almost like a code being typed out across the table. The researchers felt a chill as the first fragments of words began to emerge from the digital static. And this was not just art anymore. It was a communication from a genius who had been dead for 5 centuries. The project was no longer about restoration. It was about decryption. Something even more haunting was waiting in the arrangement of the food on the table. Secret Song of the Disciples. What most people do not realize is that Leonardo was also a talented musician. He often played a silver lute shaped like a horse head. So, it makes sense that he would find a way to put music into his art. The AI analyzed the positions of the pieces of bread in the hands of the apostles. When you read them from right to left, which is how Leonardo wrote his mirror script, they form musical notes. The researchers processed this through a sound algorithm. The result was a 40-note melody. It is written in the Phrygian mode, which is an ancient musical scale often used for sad songs. It sounds like a funeral march. It is a song of lamentation. Basically, Leonardo built a soundtrack of grief into the very moment of betrayal. But here is the catch. The melody is not just random notes, it follows a perfect mathematical progression that matches the architecture of the room in the painting. The AI played the music and found that the rhythm matches the visual beat of the disciples' reactions. Hands and bread become a physical record of sound. This is a huge discovery because it shows that Leonardo wanted the viewer to hear the painting as much as see it. It adds a whole new layer of emotion to the scene. It is not just a quiet dinner, it is a loud, vibrating moment of shock and sadness. And that is putting it lightly. The music feels heavy and dark, as if it is mourning more than just the betrayal of one man. The AI then compared this melody to Leonardo's other works. It found similar patterns in the background of the Mona Lisa. It seems Leonardo was obsessed with the idea of visible music. He believed that the laws of sound and the laws of light were the same. Hands down, this makes him one of the first multimedia artists in history. But the melody has a strange ending. It does not resolve. It stops abruptly on a dissonant note right where the AI found the most concentrated area of hidden text. It is like the music is a key that unlocks the next part of the puzzle. The researchers realized that the music was a guide. It was telling them where to look for the words. So, here is the deal. The team focused their sensors on the area where the music ended on that sharp, ugly note. They used infrared reflectography to see through the top layers of paint. Underneath the surface, they found sketches that Leonardo had changed. John's head was repositioned. Peter's hand was originally holding something else. But under those changes, they found the ink. It was tiny, microscopic writing that used the same mirror script found in his journals. The AI began to piece together the first full sentence. It was not a prayer. It was not a blessing. It was something that felt much more like a warning. The text was buried so deep that it was clear it was never meant for the church to see. Buried messages behind the table. The crazy part is that these words were hidden in the dark areas, like the shadows under the table and the folds of the robes. The AI translated the first complete line found behind the central figure. It read, "All faith fades when light reveals the hand of man." This sentence stunned the researchers. In the 1490s, saying something like that could get an artist in serious trouble. It suggests that what people think is divine is actually just a human creation. It is a direct challenge to the power of the church. But Leonardo was smart. He knew that by the time anyone could see these words, he would be long gone. He was talking to us. He was talking to the future. The AI continued to scan the area near Judas. Behind the most famous traitor in history, the writing said, "He who eats with truth will not betray himself." This feels like a personal note on the nature of honesty. Leonardo was surrounded by court politics and lies in Milan. He spent his life hiding his true thoughts. The painting was his only way to be honest without being punished. The team found another message near Thomas, and he is the disciple who doubted the resurrection. The writing there said, "To question is not sin, but the path to clarity." This is a key detail because it shows Leonardo's scientific mind. He valued doubt and investigation over blind belief. As more data came in, the messages started to connect. They formed a narrative about the danger of power. One line found near the feet of the disciples said, "The ones who hold power will bury truth beneath stone until the eyes of the future uncover it." This sounds like a prophecy. It is as if Leonardo knew his work would be censored or hidden. He knew that one day a technology would exist that could see through his paint. He was waiting for us to develop the tools to hear him. The room in the lab grew very quiet as the scientists read these words. They realized they were not just looking at art history. They were looking at a secret political and philosophical manifesto. There are still many rumors in the air about what Leonardo really believed, but these words provide hard evidence. He was a man who believed in the power of reason. He was a man who feared that the truth was being suppressed by those in charge. The AI found nearly 40 separate phrases hidden throughout the fresco. Each one was placed according to a precise mathematical grid. When the computer mapped them all out, they formed a giant geometric shape that pointed directly at the center of the painting. It pointed to the chest of Jesus. And there, buried under the original red pigment, the AI found the final, most terrifying part of the message. The final words were so faint they almost looked like a ghost on the screen. Da Vinci's last message to us. The AI processed the final inscription found in the center of the painting. It read, "Truth belongs not to the saints, but to those who seek it in silence." This was followed by a longer, more chilling statement. "Faith without reason is the sleep of truth, and those who wake shall see what was forbidden." This is the core of the mystery. Leonardo was warning that blind faith allows the truth to be hidden. He was telling us that we must wake up and use our own minds to see the reality of the world. In his time, the forbidden things were science, anatomy, and the laws of nature that contradicted religious stories. He was a man who had to cut open bodies in secret to learn how the heart worked. He had to hide his inventions so they would not be used for war. It is not that simple, though. Many people think these messages are a direct attack on religion, but art historians suggest something else. They think Leonardo was trying to save the essence of spirituality by separating it from the corruption of the people who ran the institutions. But he wanted a world where knowledge was free and truth was not a weapon used to control others. The AI analysis also debunked some of the more wild theories. There were no dates for the end of the world. There were no secret locations of hidden treasure. Instead, the treasure was the advice he was giving us. He was telling us to be skeptics. He was telling us to be researchers. The aftermath of this discovery has been huge. Some groups are calling for the painting to be sealed away, while others want a full digital recreation so everyone can read the hidden words. The Vatican has been very quiet about the specific phrases, only saying that they are studying the results. But the truth is already out there. The AI has proven that Leonardo was much more than just a painter of pretty things. He was a philosopher who used the most famous wall in the world to hide a message that he knew would take 500 years to decode. He was playing a game of chess with time itself. And the Last Supper still hangs in that quiet room in Milan. It has survived wars, bombs, and time. It measures 15 feet, 4.6 meters high, and 29 feet, 8.8 meters wide, but its true scale is much larger. It is a bridge between the Renaissance and the digital age. Now, when you look at it, you are not just seeing a meal. You are seeing a man's final attempt to speak to a future that he hoped would be smarter than his present. We are that future. We are the ones who have finally uncovered his hand. The question is, are we ready to follow the advice he left behind? Nobody expected this to happen, but the secret of the Last Supper is finally out. It is a story of power, math, and the search for what is real. Leonardo's voice is no longer a whisper. It is a clear mathematical shout that has survived for half a millennium. The painting is a mirror. It shows us not just the past, but the potential of the human mind to hide the truth until the world is ready to see it. What if the truth Leonardo hid is even more dangerous than we realize today? Does his warning about reason over faith still apply to our world? Like, comment, and subscribe for more.